Hey community, George here again, back for another episode. Today I want to talk to you about removing toxic culture from your organization. In the last two episodes, I spoke about the ABCDs of culture in your organization. In the last episode, I talked about what a toxic culture is and how you get one if certain things happen within your organization. Today, I want to talk about how do you remove toxic culture from your organization. One of the first things you have to do is be aware that you have toxic culture within your organization. If you didn't watch the last episode about what a toxic culture looks like, please go watch that to identify certain things within your organization. And if any of those are within your organization, those certain behaviors, then you need to go and find out how that's happening and how to root it out, which is what I want to talk about today. One of the things you can do to find toxic culture in your organization is to engage someone who can come in and give you a survey of your employees. What I would do is I would get someone to come in and do an anonymous survey of your staff. There are many online surveys that can happen. There are also many people that you can bring in that will help you look at your staff and ask them questions anonymously in order for them, especially with the digital age, they can log on through a web portal anonymously, answer the questions, and a result is spat out at the end that tells you exactly what your culture is like. Those things are imperative. Some organizations that I've consulted with, what they'll do is they'll have an interview, one-on-one interview, by an external person will come in and do the interview, and they are kept without any names written down, but just the answers are given, and people feel a little bit better to be able to tell someone externally what they feel, what they see, what they've heard, how things work in the organization, and that gets put down into a report and handed to the management. Now, number one, management and leadership need to be brave enough to go through this process. If you think your culture is toxic in any way, or unhealthy even, before it gets to toxic, I highly recommend that you bring someone in to interview your staff within your organization, and they can tell you what's going on. Be brave enough to hear it, brave enough to bring a change, and brave enough to even say sorry if you need to. What I mean by that is you have to admit that as the leader of the organization, the CEO, the managing director, you're the one that either has perpetuated or at least at minimum allowed for the culture to happen without having a strong voice into your organization. So having quantitative surveys, exit interviews, talking to staff that have left previously and asking them honest questions about what's happened will give you some great indicators. I encourage that you cultivate a culture or a methodology of speaking up within your organization, having abilities, having processes where staff can come anonymously and let people know what's happening in their department. Whether it's a suggestion box or an online portal or someone they can talk to, HR person, someone where they can speak openly without the threat of being fired or having adverse effects to their position or their finances. Trust me, you will get some gold from your staff. Because most people, understand this, especially the main leaders, most people work for your organization not because of the funds that they get. It's not the pay that motivates people. A lot of surveys done around the world, across many Western nations, show that it's the culture, the work environment, and the person that they work for within the organization that keeps them there. 82% of people, this is average across a few surveys, 82% of people don't leave companies, they leave managers. They leave leaders. They walk away because the person they're working with or for has become irritating and the culture has become so bad that no amount of money is going to keep them there. So be very, very careful of this. The next thing I would do is I would look for influencers within your organization. Now, when I say influencers, many of you think the person who holds this title or that title or this title. I want to say to you, look beyond the title for those who have got influential natures and have got leadership gold on the inside of them, and they're the ones in lunchrooms, around water coolers, down at lunch, down at the local cafe with staff. They're the ones that are actually influencing your staff more than your leaders and management are. Look for those ones, get them on side, get them talking, and you watch what they will do for the culture of the organization. A few quick things. Here's some quick fire ways. I would consider redundancies. I would consider changing of roles. I would consider team building days. removing double standards, only rewarding people with merit, and ensuring that there's no nepotism or anything of that nature where people are getting rewarded because of their friendship or their family connection with someone in the organization. They're just quick fire ways of things, words that you will know what those mean for you in your organization, that will help you remove toxicity out of your organization. And finally, I want to say to you that if you don't remove toxic culture out of your organization and deal with it, and it will take you 3 to 5 years to do it properly, you won't have an organization doing anything that's productive within 5 to 8 years if you don't deal with it very, very quickly, especially if it's got to that toxic culture stage. Well, that's it from me today. I hope you've heard the details of what I'm talking about. If you want to know more about culture in any way, please shoot us an email. I'm happy to direct you to some resources that you can use. Have a great day. See you next time.